Welcome back to McPhee Ford. Today we're taking a look at this brand new 2023 Ford Escape. Now for 2023, the Escape has received a little bit of a mid-cycle refresh, and this is actually our very first one that we've received here at McPhee Ford. Now this particular one here is an active trim level, which has actually fully replaced the new trim levels. Ford has fully replaced it for 2023, so gone are the days of the SEs and the SEL. They've actually fully replaced it with brand new ones. So active is the sort of base model, which kind of would be compared to an SE. There's also the new ST line, which actually comes in various different equipment levels, and there's also the new Platinum, which is the top trim level. Lastly, there's also the plug-in hybrid, which is actually its own trim level now. So the plug-in hybrid is its own trim, which does sit at the sort of the top there with the Platinum. Now we're going to take a quick walk around this particular one here, kind of show you some of the differences that Ford made for 2023, again for this mid-cycle refresh. So we'll start here with the front end, where we do have a redesigned headlight, and actually standard now are LED headlights. So for 22 you actually could get the halogen lights, but for 23 Ford made LEDs fully standard. There are two different versions of them. This is actually the sort of the base LED, but there are projector LEDs that are available on higher trim levels. But this makes it look so much more modern. So gone are the days of the halogen headlights there. The bumper, of course, has received a full redesign here. The grille actually protrudes a little bit more, which is one of the first things I noticed. It does actually stick out a good amount there, makes it look a little bit more aggressive. Now this active does not have fog lights, but you could get fog lights, of course, on any other trim level. So you would have fog lights right there. And this one also being an active, we do have the chrome strip that runs along the sort of the top of the grille there. Now in other trim levels, Ford actually incorporates a LED light that goes across that line there, what they call the coast-to-coast LED. So again, this particular one does not have that, but that is an option on some other trim levels. If we come around to the side here, this one also being inactive, we do have the smaller wheel setup. It's aluminum wheel, just like the older models here, and it does sit on an all-season tire. Now the overall shape and design of the Escape has remained unchanged. It does look very similar, especially at its side profile, very similar to the previous model. Now if you were to get the ST line, these black plastic here, which actually would be all body colored. Ford did do body colored for the ST line models. But again, this isn't active, so it does have that sort of black plastic. Nice LED taillight here, which has actually fully replaced the halogen as well. And there's the active badge. Of course, if you have an ST line, you would get an ST line badge. And this one has all-wheel drive as well. Nice dual exhaust, as well as the rear view camera up here. So that's pretty much out for the exterior differences here. There are a bunch of different options and packages that are now available, but that kind of sums it up for the most part. And again, this is not a full new generation. This is just a mid-cycle refresh, just to kind of keep it updated and up to date. So we'll take a look into the interior of this particular one here. This being an active, we do have the cloth seating, and we do have full power adjustments here for the driver's side, which is actually now standard as well. So that's definitely a nice improvement. Gone are the days of manually pumping your seat up. We do have nice power adjustments here for the driver's seat. Door panel, very similar design as the previous year. Of course, your power controls on the door panel right there, and also the lighting as well as the power trunk release. And power trunk is also now standard as well, so that's definitely nice. But we'll take a look a little bit closer into the interior. The key, we do have a nice keyless fob here on this active as well, which includes remote start as well as the trunk release and a push button start. Now this being an active, again, it's a little bit of a lower trim level, which is actually surprising because this interior does look really, really nice for a base model Escape. We do have a nice big screen here in the gauge cluster, and we do have the 8-inch Sync 4 display. Now there are two different screen options. This is actually the smaller screen, which is now standard for 23. There is the larger 13.2-inch display, which is running Sync 4, that is available on some other higher trim levels, which does actually get rid of your climate control. So this one has physical buttons for the climate control, but if you option in that larger screen, they actually Ford gets rid of the physical buttons for the climate control and incorporates it into the screen. So some people may prefer that, some people won't, but that's what they did. So you have kind of that difference there. The steering wheel is very, very similar. I think it's actually unchanged. All the buttons are same here. We have your cruise control on the left, and then some of your controls for that gauge cluster right here. Now the gauge cluster is different. We do have a full redesign for the gauge cluster, and we also have options for a full digital screen, which was available for last year, but now it's for this year it's much easier to get. You don't have to get quite a high trim level. It's actually available on some lower trim level, so that's definitely nice because it does make it a lot more modern looking. We do have, again, the climate control down here, which is dual zone, and we also have heated seats as well as a heated steering wheel, which is also now standard for this active model. We have USB connections right there, 12 volts. Again, this design here is very, very similar. Your transmission selector, as well as parking brake. You have auto hold, drive mode select, and auto start stop as well. Now we'll hop out of the front seat and look into the rear seat of this Escape. Now the rear seat design is very similar to the front seats. We do have a slightly different design for the cloth, but it's still very, very similar. We do have recline option for the back seat still, which is definitely nice. A lot of people do like that. And we also have the slider back here as well, so you can actually move the seats back and forth. So it gives you a lot of adjustability. If you want more trunk space, you can push them forward, or if you want more rear seat legroom, you can of course push them all the way back and you have lots and lots of space back here. Center armrest, which does have some cup holders and some USB connections, so we can keep everything charged up, no problem at all. But if we come around to the trunk area, the trunk release has actually changed. Previously it was down here, there's a little cutout, but now Ford changed it to where you would typically see it on a SUV, kind of hidden beside that rear camera. But if we lift this up, this is very similar to the previous model as well. We do have the ability to put those seats down with those recline levers, so you can just fold them flat and you have an enormous amount of space back here. We have your 12-volt connector and also some carpeted floor mats as well. We lift this up and we do have the spare tire down here as well. But that'll pretty much do it for this video. Of course, as soon as we get more of these in, we will certainly do videos on those. We're patiently waiting for the ST line and those Platinum models to really see what Ford did for the 23 model. If you're interested in an Escape just like this, you can give us a call or visit us at mcpheeford.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.